Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the really unique educational framework behind DEVCON Kids. We're going to see how their goal is to build something much, much bigger than just the next generation of coders. You know, when we talk about kids and technology, the conversation almost always starts with a question kind of like this one. We're on the hunt for that one singular genius, right? The next Bill Gates, the next Silicon Valley superstar. But the team at DEVCON Kids decided to flip that question completely on its head. They started asking something different, something that completely reframes the whole point of teaching kids about tech. What if instead of searching for that one needle in a haystack, we focus on making the entire haystack better? What if the real goal is to build a whole generation of creative, adaptable problem solvers? This right here, this shift in thinking, is the key to everything they do. Okay, so let's get into it and see what that philosophy actually looks like in practice. We'll start with their most fundamental rule. So this is absolutely crucial to get. For DEVCON Kids, technology is never the star of the show. Yeah, it's an incredibly powerful tool for sure, but it's always in service of a bigger human goal. You know, learning, creating, and connecting with each other. So how do you put that human-centered idea into action? Well, they've got this very specific instructional design engine. It's this dynamic, four-step learning cycle that powers every single lesson they teach. And here it is. This is the blueprint. It's a continuous loop that takes a student from curiosity to creation and then, and this is so important, to self-awareness. So let's break down each part of this cycle. Everything kicks off right here. Before anyone writes a single line of code or even opens a tool, the main goal is to spark some genuine curiosity, some real emotional engagement. I just love this quote because it perfectly captures the start of the journey. It's not about giving instructions, it's about inspiration. By showing students what's possible and connecting it to things they already care about, you establish the why long before you ever get to the how. Okay, so you've sparked that curiosity. What's next? Well, that curiosity becomes the fuel for students to actually get their hands dirty with the technology. And this just nails their belief in active learning. This isn't about sitting back and passively watching a tutorial. No way. It's all about exploration, about experimenting, and really mastering concepts because you're directly interacting with them. In short, it's about letting kids tinker. All right, now we get to the real heart of it. This is where students take all those skills they've been tinkering with and apply them to challenges that actually have real-world meaning. The key word here is authenticity. Students aren't just completing some abstract exercise. They're building something for a purpose, for a real audience. And that gives them a sense of ownership. It makes the work feel important. But hang on, the cycle doesn't just end when the project is done. To make all that learning really stick, it wraps up with a step that is absolutely essential for long-term growth: reflection. This is where the learning truly sinks in and becomes a part of them. By looking back on their process, you know, what went well, what was a real challenge, students become more self-aware. They build character, and they start to understand that learning is a journey of continuous improvement. So, you've got this powerful four-step engine. But what's the fuel that keeps it running so smoothly? Well, the answer is simple, but it's also really profound. It's a playful learning environment. Wow. I mean, that's a pretty heavy statement, isn't it? But it really drives home the critical, scientific importance of play. For DEVCON Kids, play is not a break from learning. It is how learning happens. It's not some fun add-on. It's a non-negotiable part of the whole process. And that playful approach is literally built into the learning environment. It's all based on these core ideas, like making social learning a priority, really fostering a positive self-image for every single student, and encouraging kids of different ages and abilities to collaborate. It's all about building a community where it's safe to try things and even fail. Okay, let's talk about how this human-centered approach totally changes something that, let's be honest, can be really stressful for students: getting feedback on their work. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? On the left, you've got criticism that just shuts a kid down. But on the right, you have a model that actually builds them up. It works by pointing out the strengths first and then framing areas for improvement as a collaborative what's next step. So to make that feedback model really work, they stick to these key guidelines. And notice how all of these tips are designed to make the feedback super specific, actionable, and sensitive. It turns assessment into a positive part of learning, not a scary judgment. So, when you bring all of these pieces together, the 4-step cycle, the power of play, and the art of giving really great feedback, what's the final outcome? What are you really aiming for? And this really is the biggest takeaway. The whole system is designed to build durable human skills. Because a specific coding language might change and the technology will definitely evolve. But the ability to think critically, to work with others, and to reflect on your own learning, that stuff is forever. And that leaves us with a final big question to think about. This amazing model of teasing curiosity, learning by doing, solving real problems, and then reflecting on the journey, well, that's not just about tech, is it? It's a powerful blueprint for learning just about anything.